This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I'm going to go through and break down the difference between a goal and a resolution. The reason why I want to go through and do this is because sometimes, quite often really, people will set goals that are actually resolutions, and then be deterred or demotivated when they stop achieving their resolution thinking that it's a goal. So it's really crucial to be able to make a distinction about what the difference between a goal is compared to a resolution. So let's have a look at the differences. And let's start with the idea of a New Year's resolution. Often, people will say, what's your New Year's resolution? And from there, we'll answer with this idea of a goal that we have for the next calendar year. The interesting thing around a New Year's resolution is that when on being asked, what is it we want to achieve that year? And that's a different question. It's an important question, but it's a different question. We're being asked, what are the habits and behaviors that we want to develop in that year? Who is the person that we want to become or unbecome first? Because in order to become somebody or be who we are, we have to unbecome what we're not, right? So the crucial thing there is understanding that the resolutions actually comes from the word to be resolute, which is to be sort of unwavering in your conviction and 100% determined. One way to think of being resolute is being 100% admirably, purposefully driven towards something that's meaningful for you. Now think about when you bring that to your goals. So your resolutions are like all of the habits that you need to develop in order to achieve your goal. So for example, a goal is to run a marathon. Your resolution might be to train 4 to 5 days a week for it, rather than the goal be 4 or 5 days a week, because maybe you get sick one week, therefore you don't achieve your goal, where it's just something that you actually had a resolution for. So this is where a big distinction between a goal and resolution is important, because a resolution is what we need in order to achieve our goal, right? Rather than, I suppose, seeing them as the same category. Because the goal, which is really interesting, I literally just gone through and written out the differences of goals. And so in my book, that is, the book goes through and explains SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic or relevant and timely, right? SMART goals, I'm sure most of you have heard before, is not something that I really connected with for a number of reasons. And so I ended up developing my own framework of goals, which was, it's known as the 1-3-5-4, which is you have one goal, A1, your most important, the goal that if you achieve would make everything else obsolete. Then you have 3 B goals. These B goals are more like maybe midterm goals. Maybe they're goals that sort of uphold your big A1 goal, or maybe they're goals that are still not as important as your A1 goal, but still will take time to achieve and work towards. And then your C goals, there's 5 of them. These are more of probably the fun ones that you've been maybe putting off that you could do in a weekend, right? It could be skydiving, it could be talking to, asking the person out on a date, it could be anything like that that's actually quite achievable and doable in that moment. And so this allowed me to better prioritize what my goals are, but then it came with 4 questions. Those questions allow us to really make a bigger and deeper distinction to our goals, because if we have, like I mentioned yesterday, if we have superficial goals and we live superficially, we experience life superficially. And so sometimes we may catch ourselves in this space of trying to be pretty superficial with our goals because we don't want to be, embarrassed or someone to think that we're, a loser. We don't want to not achieve our goals, so maybe we don't set them so much. In an uncomfortable experience, maybe we set them that are really achievable, which is one of the issues that I had with the SMART goals, is that if all we ever did as a human race was set goals that were achievable, then we would never move forward. So often we're setting goals that are near impossible, and in doing so, we're able to actually edge the world forward. Just about every single invention that we look around with was once impossible. So it's just about really understanding what's important for ourselves, then defining the priority of what is the order of what's important to ourselves, then asking the 4 questions. I mean, those 4 questions are simply going, when do you want to achieve this by? So this is allowing us to have a logical component to it rather than simply just an emotional or just a logical. There's both components to it. So when is this to be completed by? It allows us to give us a date. Now, if it's struggling to give us a date, then it's a resolution. If it's like, well, when do I achieve 4 to 5 times a week? It's like every single week. It's like, well, that's a resolution, not a goal. So maybe that's one of the cornerstones to you achieving your goal. Let's park that for the moment. And what would you achieve from training 4 or 5 days a week? Because that's actually what your goal is. And then from there we go, why is this important to me? And we allow ourselves to see and understand why we actually want to achieve what we say we want to achieve. And so when we enable ourselves to go deep here, to understand the deeper why behind, our goal, what our goal will actually achieve for us on an emotional level, and why it's important to us, then we deepen the chance of actually achieving that goal. A couple of questions that can help with that is simply, what will I gain from this that I don't already have? How will this change my life? Or in what ways will this change my life? What makes me drawn to achieving this goal? Who else does this goal positively impact? It's questions like this that allow us to really start to break down and understand why this specific, out of all the goals in the world, why this specific goal is important to me, and what am I going to get from it, both on an emotional level, a spiritual level, a logical level, improvement of life, all that sort of stuff. The next question is a logical question again, and that looks at going, what are the steps that I need to take in order to achieve this goal? Do I know all those steps? Do I need to get somebody else in to help with those steps? Are they steps clear? Are they concise? Do I not know the steps? Maybe I only know the first step, because that's all we really need to know. I think a quote by Rumi is probably really effective here, really relevant. It fits. It says, as you start to walk on the way appears. And it might sound really nice and fluffy, but there's a lot of people out there that know exactly what the fuck that means, that when they just went, fuck it, you know what, and trusted themselves and moved through that space, moved through that uncertainty, the way did appear. Somebody rocked up and goes, oh, I know this person you should speak to. They go, oh, I actually work there. Did you want me to put you in touch with someone? Shit like that just happens, right? And some people want to be cynical and say it doesn't just happen, but it's like, I've experienced when you put yourself in the way, and on the way rather, like the way will continually appear. So the biggest thing for us is making sure we're aware of what the next step is, at least that. So how do you see this goal being completed? And then the last one is another emotional question, is what happens if you don't? This is crucial. So when we thought, why is this compelling for me? That's allowing this motivation towards, it's building this motivation towards achieving something. It allows us to be compelled to move, whereas this is motivation away. So what happens if I don't achieve it? What happens if I don't achieve the goal? What pain will I experience? Who will I let down? What is the real cost of me failing to meet this goal? What will it mean for me? What will it say about me? What will it cost me financially, emotionally, in my relationships? Or with me, what will it cost me with my relationship with me? See, this is the push motivation that's so crucial, and so many of us actually lean into is this rather, we may not move until it gets so bad that we have to do something. In fact, sometimes people will create scenarios that allow it to get so bad that they will do something. They make it so bad. They continually put this command in their mind of like, could it get any worse? It's like, what are you focusing on, mate? What are you focusing on there when you say that? I can probably give you a hint if you need it, right? So it's interesting like this, being able to really see the difference between a goal and a resolution, and see how resolutions and being resolute can really allow us to move towards our goals with more of an unwavering conviction, as opposed to this sort of corny thing that we should do every now and again, or maybe we don't do because we feel it's corny, or we just don't think about it, or we don't think it's important. But it's like, if you want to achieve what you want to achieve in life, and I'm assuming that if you listen to this podcast, then you do, then the thing is that having a goal, having a direction is so powerful for you. Otherwise, it's like having a football team that just goes on the pitch without any direction. They don't even know where they're going to be kicking the ball. It's like, what's the point of playing? So, and there might be a good answer to that, but For now, I am done. Thank you very much for listening. If you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you would pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. If you haven't already, then make sure that you jump on Facebook, search Mood Prep Online, and join the conversation now. I'd love to see you in there. Otherwise, that's it, me done. Until tomorrow, peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unlearned.